Welcome back. Chillin with Dylan, Sports, Music, and Life Takes, episode 11. I appreciate everybody so far who has been watching, supporting, and being a part of this journey. I'm glad to be here today with a very special guest, former classmate of mine from Bishop Gorman, one of the toughest hoopers, I'm going to emphasize, one of the coldest hoopers, but one of the also most genuine people from my graduating class. I got my guy, Christian Popoola Jr., aka Pop, in the building.
Thank you for having me, man.
Hey,
Appreciate the words.
hey, of course, man. You was one of them guys growing up in high school where everybody had to watch and pay attention. So, it's only right to give you your flowers and also just catch up and see where you've been and what you've been up to ever since.
Yeah, man. It's been a long journey. Can't lie.
No
It's been
doubt.
long.
No doubt. So I know you got the Vegas pedigree. You practically like Vegas hoops royalty. But I saw that you was born in Menlo, California. Do you have much ties to California as a whole?
Yeah, I was born in Menlo Park. I grew up in East Palo Alto, which is like, if you know anything about East Palo Alto, that's the hood. Like, Palo Alto is where Stanford is, and then when you go outside of it, I mean, nowadays they're kind of, making gentrification efforts, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. But when I grew up, it was the hood. It was, the crack epidemic kind of came through there, and it was kind of a recovering neighborhood. I happened to have had grandparents who, did well for themselves, and so we all kind of stayed at my grandparents' house, and that's kind of the house that I grew up in as a child. My mom ran track. She had me at 18. She ran track at Cal Berkeley. And so I spent a lot of my time from like, ages 2 to 6, you know what I'm saying, all over the Bay, either on campus at Cal Berkeley where I met my best friend, or in East Palo Alto, growing up in the rest of it.
I feel that. I feel that. So you mentioned that you got certain pedigree with track from through your mom. How old were you when you started playing basketball?
I didn't start playing basketball until like sixth grade, man. Like we moved to LA when I was like 9 years old, so I was like third grade, Um, so I was like 8 or 9. We moved to LA, and I skateboarded. I skateboarded up until like sixth, seventh grade. And then my dad one day came out for the summer and he was like, this is how much skateboarders make and this is how much basketball players make. Which one you want to do? And I was like, any kid is gonna be like, shit, I want bread, like
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know about other kids. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna start hooping. And so then like sixth grade, I started kind of taking basketball a little more serious. Basketball started taking kind of a front seat for me, and then from that point on, it was just basketball. Like my people didn't even let me skateboard anymore. I didn't even, do any of this anymore.
It was like no more, man. You gotta get boards on the hardware, not boards in the
On the
skate
board.
park. Yeah, I feel it. I feel it.
Yeah.
So like you were a bit of a late bloomer, but I mean, shit. Excuse my French. Bloomed you did. But when you were growing up, who did you um, who did you model your game after when you were coming up?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I would say the players that had like the most impact on me. I used to be a big fan of Russell Westbrook and the Thunder, and so like my uncle also used to coach Russell Westbrook when he was younger, so I used to look up to him a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where being I'm only like 6'3", 6'4", you know what I'm saying, but I'm head on the rim athlete. Like I think that was definitely inspired by Russ, and I got to see him work out over at Gorman a few times. Shabazz Muhammad was there during the time. I got to watch him a lot. So I've watched a lot of high flyers, a lot of aggressive high flyers, but I always really favorite James Harden's game. So I always really, because I'm a lefty, so I always really appreciated the, rock with it, hezzy, hard cross, step back. I was always really into that. And I think the combination of those two styles kind of got me where I'm at now.
You brought up a name that I'm so glad you brought him up, but Shabazz Muhammad. Now, I was when I was doing some research, I saw that you guys' families knew each other, and you came up playing and practicing a lot against Shabazz, who, for those who don't know, was a McDonald's All American in 2012 and the number one player of that class. He was, the hype was insane if he was living in Vegas at that time. Went on to be a first round pick in the 2013 draft after a year at UCLA. And then his brother Rashad, 3-star recruit, did well at San Jose State as their leading scorer. How valuable were those training sessions in developing your game? And you guys still have a relationship?
Man, me and Shabazz are still pretty cool. I see him I only really talk to him once a year, once every 2 years. Um, Forever grateful for Rashad, man. Rashad was like kind of like that big brother that I never had. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially when I first came out to Vegas, I didn't really have any friends. So he would always kind of like hook me up with Young and Reckless gear and, Steven Zimmerman and that kind of crew really helped me out. But Ron Holmes, Shabazz's dad, was somebody who was always kind of in my corner when I was growing up, sixth, seventh, eighth grade, ninth grade. Like, and honestly, it was just really inspiring to see a basketball family and how they, got down, how they strived for athletic greatness. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know that Shabazz's big sister is a pro tennis player, or was a pro tennis player. And so,
Asian Muhammad, yep. Yeah.
like, greatness in that household, greatness is what's expected. And that's the only thing that's accepted. And so, that kind of seeing that level of, grind and that level of success really just pushed me, especially into high school, um, to work on my game and just kind of become the player that I ended up becoming.
No doubt. And did you always know that you were going to be going to Bishop Gorman, or was it watching the success of Shabazz and Rashad that inspired you?
I was zoned for Sierra Vista. So like I thought I was going to go to Vista, you know what I'm saying? I kind of knew in the back of my head that I would end up going to Gorman, but we couldn't afford Gorman. And so like it was one of those things where it was like we knew I was going to be good enough, but was I going to go to Clark? Or was I going to go to Sierra Vista? Or was I going to go to Gorman? Like no one really knew until it was time. And then by the time it was time, I had spent so much time in the Gorman gym, working out against Noah, working out against Rashad, playing with the team, you know what I'm saying, that I was just kind of locked in there. It just ended up being a happy story.
Man, we love those. We love those. Another name that you brought up that I have down on here, but you brought up Noah Robotham, who was the captain, who was the point guard for on varsity for several years. One of the best players that I remember watching at Gorman. What lessons did you learn from someone like him, or some of like the guys who ended up playing McDonald's All American and playing D1 like Chase Jeter, Zach Collins, and Steven Zimmerman?
Yeah, man. I mean, Zach's my guy. So me and Zach's only a class above me. Like I
FCC.
kind of was around for most of Zach's high school experience, and so like seeing what he did just as a player and as a person, man, is just like to this day I'm inspired by that guy. I love that kid. Um, Noah, man, as far as Noah Robotham goes, I like the knowledge is invaluable, man. Like, especially him and not a lot of people know his dad, Bobby Robotham, but
I met him.
between those two, IQ wise, because I play the point guard, like IQ wise, I owe a lot to those two. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember one of the first memories I have of Noah. He was like one of the best players out in Vegas, and his dad was talking to me about peripheral vision and being able to see Like when Noah was young, he used to work on how far Noah could see in his peripheral vision with still looking straight in order to be able to see the court and get the court to open up more. And like to this day, man, I think about that, like just being able to see the floor and be able to just be aware of your surroundings, you know what I'm saying, as a point guard, and just instincts. Like there's so many tips that I learned from that kid and just his game in general that really allowed me to become the high school player that I was, and allowed me to help Gorman continue to win at the level and then everywhere else I went. So, man, kudos and props out to them for sure.
That's dope. Yeah, no, I met Bobby. He would be at Lifetime with Noah and his brother's named Czar, right?
Yeah, Czar.
Yeah. So they would be working out, and I didn't like put two and two together until I realized, okay, he got to be their dad because he's always around them. But he would give me tips on my game, and he didn't like know me super well, and I wasn't on anybody's radar. But like just being that vessel of information and knowledge, like no, he's like an OG, so he kind of got that like, young man, this how you want to put your elbow in. Like he gonna give you that type of advice.
He's
So
East Coast guy, man. He wore a do-rag and a fitted cap.
yeah, 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 yeah. I was like, okay, like he an old school player for real. Like I see it. Like Noah's very like like laid back. Like he got the personality though. Like you could see like his dad having that. So but that's dope though that you had that. Now you I talked with Alex Perry, who was our classmate, and talked about how he was on freshman as a varsity. Now, if I recall and remember correctly, you were on freshman as a I mean you were on varsity as a freshman, correct?
Yeah, I was on varsity as a freshman. Actually, my freshman year was kind of ridiculous. I played, I didn't play freshman. I played JV and varsity my freshman year. So
Okay.
I played all the JV games and I played most of the varsity games my freshman year. And it was really just because we were stacked and there was no question about us winning, that year. We had Steven, we had Chase Jeter. But I remember like one of the first games I played varsity that year was out in Chicago against Craig Victor. And Craig Victor gave us all we can. Craig Victor gave us like 30 and like a bunch of rebounds, but I had 15 in that game. And it was kind of just me and Noah kind of holding the team, but that year kind of gave me all the confidence I needed, if I'm being super honest, because I remember at the beginning of the year they were kind of discussing whether or not I was going to play varsity and just try to back up Noah, or I was going to play JV and play with Chuck and JP and Zach and Byron. You know what I'm saying? And it was crazy because our JV squad was a squad that ended up winning the title the next year, the next 2 years.
Yeah.
And so um that experience just being on varsity kind of really just kicked my high school career off, because after that I wasn't really scared of anything. Like I wasn't nervous of anything, you know what I'm saying? And it kind of deleted the age gap. The thing that really shook the ground for me is after that year I moved to Utah. So my sophomore year I was gone.
You beat me to the punch, man. Once again, I was gonna say, so you left our sophomore year, and I remember everyone was real sad, and everyone was like, "Yo, man, Pop is gone." Like people talk about you like you died. I'm like, he's out in Utah. Like he ain't died. He's in Utah. But you left to go play at Lone Peak, and Lone Peak was where Frank Jackson was at. Frank Jackson was one of the best point guards of class of 16. Went on to play at Duke. Was a second round pick in 2017. And that year you were a starter, you were averaging 15 a game. What influenced that decision, and was that your introduction to the state of Utah?
Yeah, man. Honestly, it was my pops that kind of influenced the decision. I wanted to start my sophomore year. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was very serious about that. I felt like I had earned that position, especially because of, you know what I'm saying, the battles that I had had in practice, the things that happened behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? I felt like, me and Noah really went at it my freshman year, which is like, that like with that being said, I felt like I deserved to, play a big part of a varsity program.
Right.
And I don't think Grant felt the same. I think Grant really wanted me to like sit down for Richie Thornton, which like Richie was good, man. Like Richie was a good player, and I never had anything against Richie. I just I didn't want to. I wasn't interested in playing second fiddle. I felt like I needed the experience. I didn't need to watch somebody again play, you know. And so my dad essentially told me that, if you want to play this year and you want to head off the team and you want to do your thing, we'll go out to Utah and fresh start. And so I was like, all right, bet. We moved out to Utah. I met Quincy Lewis, who ended up being the coach at BYU, the defensive coach at BYU for quite a few years after that year. And man, I met Frank, and the rest is really history. Like we clicked immediately, and like I'm not gonna lie, like I value that year I spent. That year of basketball I played at Lone Peak was probably the most important year of basketball I played my whole life. Like like there are other years that were fun and good and important and everything like that, but all the things that I learned from Quincy Lewis and Frank Jackson, like just that year, you know what I'm saying? Um, I couldn't trade for anything. Like the only thing I'd put it second to was the summers I spent in Detroit. Like I did spend quite a few summers playing AAU ball in Detroit, Michigan, and with my uncle Tyrone Lofton, and those were life changing as well. But right up second is my year in Utah that I spent. I really like. I feel like from an IQ standpoint and from just an evolution standpoint, it really changed my game and it really gave me a different type of confidence in myself.
Wow. No, that's awesome that it was that transformative for you, and it was also that beneficial to laying the foundation that you were setting moving forth.
Yeah.
At any point did you consider staying at Lone Peak and finishing your high school career there?
The only reason I left Lone Peak was because Quincy left. So our head coach got the job at BYU, and he left at the end of the year. If he would have stayed, I would not have came back to Gorman. You never. It would have completely went a completely different way.
We might not be having this interview.
Yeah, literally, literally.
Okay, well, and I never knew that because like I remember you came back to Gorman our junior year, and I never I just never knew the reason why. People was just like, oh, he don't like Utah, he tired of Utah. But I'm like, I don't know. It looked like he doing pretty well for himself out there. It looked like he's like your
But
highlights were going everywhere. I was like, he looked like he living out there right now.
man, Utah, like this is no shade to Gorman. This is no shade to Gorman because Gorman was a completely transformative experience, and it did a lot for me in my life. But Utah, my experience in Utah at Lone Peak High School was I wouldn't trade it for anything. Like we had hundreds of kids come in to watch art. Like they treat you like a celebrity when you play basketball in Utah. Like there were games where you could like we almost sold out BYU. Like put that for what I mean, like
No,
it was
yeah, you put
like
that in perspective.
they love their basketball here. You know what I'm saying? Versus, we won state championship at Gorman, and there were games where no one was in the crowd. Like literally, no one was in the crowd. We're the number 10 team in the country, and nobody's in the crowd. No one cares like that. Because our football team's the number 10, one team in the country. Like so it's just like completely different atmosphere. But I didn't leave because I wanted to leave. I left because Quincy left, and when Quincy left, it made sense for me.
I feel that.
I
Was
also I also did want to be close to the Twins for my last years of high school.
I feel that, and with an experience like that, and you're looking at, okay, now I'm about to be a junior. This is when colleges are really like ramping up how they're looking at me. They're gonna start picking at every piece and part of my game. Um, you come back as a junior, you win your second state championship because you were part of a team as a freshman. You win your second state championship. This time you play an even bigger role. You're a starter. How did it feel to win again, and how did it feel knowing that you were a big driving force behind that victory?
Man, I mean, it meant the world to be honest, especially because rewinding back to freshman year, that team was my freshman my JV team as a freshman, and so saying it was me, Byron, Zach, Chuck, you know what I'm saying? Like same guy, same collection, same love. Chase Namayo was even there. That's a kid who I spent a lot of time with, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it sucked that he had quite a few injuries, you know, but like man, like I learned a lot from that kid especially, you know, like and so I would just say that like that year that year was the most personal, you know? Like it was the most personal. Senior year was a bit different. Like it was more of a wild win. Like my junior year, like it meant a lot for me as a person to win state. Like we not a lot of people know that my sophomore year we were supposed to win state and we ended up losing in the quarterfinals at a buzzer beater. And like I felt a lot of different types of ways about that game. I probably had like 22 and a bunch of assists in the game. I played really well, but
Mhm.
um yeah, we lost to a buzzer beater. Last second, it hurt me. So coming back to Vegas, I kind of had a chip on my shoulder, and I don't think people really realized what kind of chip I had. I think people get so caught up in the Vegas lore of like, oh, we're Gorman, we're this and we're that, that they don't know what losing feels like. And I had felt that. And so like I wasn't gonna feel that again, you know, like especially not in a new place. And so that junior year win was big. It was huge. And then Zach went on to be a McDonald's All American. So like, you know, being the point guard for the squad is like man, it's dope because it's just like you get to help all your all your troops. You know, you get to help them into places that you know who knows if they would have been if you weren't there. You know, I'm passing it to them every time. You know, like so it was exciting. I felt like I played a big hand in something, and that really you know that really put my spirits in a new place. You know, I would
Mm.
say.
No, that's awesome though. And I mean, like as someone who, I mean, I was never the player that you were, and I brought up our story about the one time I ever got to guard you. I got thrown to the ground. You said weight room, and I said, "Damn, damn." but but knowing as a point guard, right? You're the quarterback of the team. You're you're the general, the commander. You're the one that you have to put everybody that surrounds you in a position to succeed. And ultimately, the the better they look is a reflection of you. So that's it's a very selfless position, but it's also one that requires a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
that's big. Um, I remember that junior year of the summer because this is when your name started to blow up like especially even more
Mhm.
in like beyond just like everyone at Gorman knowing
Yeah.
you nice, but the whole West Coast now. Like I remember your name was really bubbling up and you were playing in events like Pango's camp with the Oakland Soldiers, who are like one of the most legendary AAU teams in history. You
Yeah.
were part of the Jordan Brand Classic. You were able to represent Nigeria as part of Team Africa. How
Mhm.
did it feel to when you got to that point, that junior year coming off of the championship victory, coming back to Gorman? How did it feel now to start picking up this increased momentum and increased recognition?
Man, it was kind of crazy because well, okay, so after sophomore year, I played in Nike Global for the first year. A lot of people
Yeah,
don't realize I played that year. And one kid that I met that year, his name's Jordan Nwora, and a lot of people don't know Jordan Nwora, but
Syracuse. I remember him.
he's the light skinned wing who went to Syracuse, who's getting buckets for the Bucks. Yeah. So me and Jordan was like chubby during the time. Like he was young, chubby. You know, like we're like sophomores going to be juniors. You know,
I didn't know that.
and we met for the first year we played on Team Africa. We had Chimezi Metu on our team. I don't know if you know him. Super bouncy African Nigerian guy, but
Did he play at Kansas?
no, he played at Chimezi played at USC.
USC. Okay, I
He's a big
remember
free
that
USC.
name.
If
I
you
remember
like, if
that.
you go look at the film, you'll know what I'm talking about. Crazy bounce, like I ain't never seen an athlete like that. I'm not gonna lie, ridiculous. But Yeah, we played and we got beat the fuck down by, oh my bad. Excuse my language. We got
No,
killed.
no, really.
We got killed by everybody though. Like we got killed by, like, it was like we were like the laughing team of Nike Global. It was horrible. Like De'Aaron
Oh,
Fox is there, you know, Marcus Howard is there, Trae Young is there, Steven Zimmerman's there, Chase Jeter's there, everybody's there, you know what I'm saying? And we're getting killed. Like we're getting blown out like 30. Like I'm pretty sure we lost to the Chinese team. We lost to everybody who's giving us buckets for real. Like
yeah.
that was sophomore year going into the junior year. Then I came back, we won state, and I played in it again that summer. And me and Jordan went crazy. I led the whole event in scoring and got MVP of the international side. We ended up losing to one of the US teams at the very end, like whatever. I don't care. But it was a big bounce back for us. And
For
then
sure.
right after that, me and Jordan Nwora, because I had talked to my pops and I had talked to a few people about some things, and me and Jordan Nwora went to go play in Adidas Nations, and Jordan, that's when Jordan blew up. Like that's
Mm,
when Jordan started scoring 30 on people. Like it was crazy. Like he assaulted Adidas Nations, and then the rest is kind of history, honestly.
dang. No,
But
that's
yeah,
awesome, man. I didn't know that you had played sophomore year as well. I thought it was just the junior year because I remember like on social media, people were talking about. They're like, "Yo, man, Pop is playing against like all
yeah,
these different international competition, and he's playing against the top players in the summer. Like he's really grinding." So everybody was like eyes in, and in the Vegas hoop circuit, all eyes in. So like I didn't know like you also had that extra motivation of like, yo, we got smoked and cooked. It's time to come back and handle this and get right.
man. I wasn't gonna accept another year like that. Like the first year, I think I traded jerseys with De'Aaron Fox. I traded him a Pan African jersey for a USA jersey, and I kept the USA jersey until the next year, and that year I kept my Pan African jersey. I was like, yeah,
Nice. There you go. Hey, and you never forget something like that because like, that was embedded in your mind. Like I have a
you know
goal
what's
to
you know what's
accomplish.
crazy about this that I didn't think of? Donovan Mitchell was my roommate that year. So 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 we were literally like
That's
that's when I
awesome.
met Donovan Mitchell for the first time, and then being out in Utah when he came to the Jazz, we ended up getting cool again. And so it's a small world, man. It's a very small world with the hoop.
With names like those, do you ever have you kept in contact? Do you ever like train and get run pick up with them guys or anything?
Sure, yeah. Like I like when Donovan lived out in Utah, I used to go over his house like quite often. Like we used to kick it, chop it up, man. Like basketball is a really small world. I would say not until I moved to San Fran did everything change with like my communication with people. Like just because I think once I got out there, it was COVID and I was in such an isolated spot that I needed the silence. I couldn't keep, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, like, praise to the people who are, cooking up in their careers and making a living, for their families. But that's kind of when my number was called up and I had to start, you know what I'm saying, facing life the way I did, man.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you did make some very life altering decisions because I remember there being like a little bit of a slight, I don't want to say drama or a scandal, but I remember there was some there was some stuff being said, but you committed to BYU
Yeah.
and you ended up flipping.
Yeah.
Do you ever wonder how things would have played out had you went there? And when you look back on that experience, is that
Man,
somewhere you?
a lot of people don't realize I wanted to go to Boise State. That was where it started. I wanted to go to Boise State. Phil
Okay.
Beckner was at Boise State, the assistant coach for Boise State. He's Dame's trainer. He's Damon Lillard's personal trainer. His name's Phil Beckner. Like,
That's
dude
dope.
is a guru. Like, dude knows everything. Like, and he was gonna just let me go. You know what I'm saying? They happen to have Paris Austin there. Um,
The name
and
I
I
ain't heard in a
was
while.
feeling
Remember?
I was just feeling like, like they weren't gonna let me play in front of Paris. You know what I'm saying? And they weren't really talking about me playing with Paris. They were more saying, you'll back up, like, and I was like, oh, okay, like I don't really like how that sounds. And so, but I still kind of wanted to go to Boise, and then I went on my BYU visit. My old coach from Lone Peak was there, Quincy, and I was like, oh, this is home. Like, this is the spot for me. You know what I'm saying? And if I would have went there, I do feel like my life would have went different. Absolutely. What a lot of people don't realize is the only reason I ended up going to the U is because of my inner circle. Like, my inner circle had ties with the University of Utah. Some of my family members and coaches that I had a lot of ties with Utah, and so when the talk happened between them and us, it was like a lot of pressure from my inner circle saying, "Oh, don't go to BYU because they're not going to treat you like this. They're not going to treat you like that." Mind you, I knew how I was going to get treated. I was completely fine being in Utah. I didn't mind any of that, but it kind of created some unrest in my family, and I kind of wanted that to die down.
For sure.
And so I ended up meeting. I ended up having conversations with some of the U situation when I decommitted, and then recommitted to Utah. And so, like, do I regret that? Low key. Like, actually, do I regret that? Absolutely. But at the time, I wouldn't trade the experience I had there for anything.
I feel that. I'm gonna get to Utah because we time wise we in the senior year of your life now. But that's all interesting to know, and I never knew that Boise was actually the school that had captured your heart. So that's dope though. Salute. So senior year now, senior year by this point, you're a 3-star recruit, which I mean, frankly, and I don't say it, I might come across biased, but you definitely was a 4-star pushing, in my opinion. At
Yeah.
least, at least. I saw you. I saw when y'all played Chino Hills, you was like the only person that was playing well that entire game. So that's all I'm gonna say on that topic. Because I had to film a lot of y'all games that junior year, especially when you came back. So I saw you playing a lot, and but senior year comes around. Now you've got that respect and that credibility as the leader. You're arguably the most important all-around player in the team. You're putting up like 16, 5, and 7,
Mhm.
and you're now back-to-back champion. How did it feel to go out on top as a senior, as a champion?
And did you see that championship game?
I was not there for that one because by that point, I wasn't at Gorman no more.
Ah, damn. We almost lost that championship game.
But I know Clark did put up a good fight.
We almost lost that. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, there was a point in that game where, like, I looked around the gym and it was straight sad faces. Like, it was straight sad faces, and it kind of took me back to when I lost in Utah. It kind of took me back. Like, and I didn't want that for the people around me. And so, probably like if you watch the game tape, like you really only have to watch like the last 5 minutes. Like we get off to a good start, then Clark starts putting it on us. We're getting fucked up by Clark for a cool duration of the game. We end up down by like 9 or something like that with like 3-4 minutes to go, and I think I got like 3 or 4 steals, like couple buckets, couple assists, like it was just kind of like we as a team, like me, Chuck, we had DJ who really put one in. We had Jamal Bay who really, came through in the clutch. Ryan Kiley, shout out to that guy. Yeah, we just kind of refused to lose. Like I can't. That team was a bit different. We just kind of refused to lose. That's kind of how we came about a lot of things. The modern day game that year, we had a few. The Finley Prep game was rough. That was a rough year. That was a rough game. But like I would say that was the most disorganized team. but like at the same time, like that team showed the most heart of any of the teams I have been on. Like we weren't about losing. We weren't going to lose. And that's kind of how we came about it. So winning that year kind of it solidified my thoughts about myself as a winner, but it also solidified kind of like the legacy we were leaving as Gorman kids, you know, because we hadn't lost. Gorman hadn't lost in years, so we couldn't be that team. And so like it kind of solidified all that for me. But like definitely I think that personally after that year I kind of, you know, decided that I was gonna hang my hat on being a winner. You know what I'm saying? And rather than being a scorer, rather than being a dunker, rather than being, you know, a point guard or whatever people want to say, I kind of hung my hat on winning things. And so that kind of changed the tide of I think my life as a player after that year. And so yeah, I definitely carried that into college and everything. Like that was definitely, you know, a special moment for me. And hopefully a special moment for my teammates too, man. Like
No, that's a great way to put it. I mean, and winning, they say winning cures all, but when people see the kind of people who are very concerned with winning, they want to. I mean, ideally, you'd want to be around that. You want those type of players on your team. You want to, you want to go to war with those guys. So that's awesome, though, that you were able to, in the midst of any adversity that you guys were going through, you were able to still keep pushing forward and making the best of the opportunity. So salute. All in all, now you've mentioned some names. You've brought up a lot of names. All in all, who's the best player that you played against in high school?
oh damn. You kind of gotta go. Ah, that's hard.
Go all right.
That's hard. It's only hard because it's positional. You know what I'm saying? Like you're having me select one person regardless of position. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Like
Well,
I'm playing against so many players in my.
o-
You know what I'm saying?
okay, I'll make it a little easier. How about who is the best guard that you played against?
Vermont Waters. And you heard how quick I said that.
Yo, okay. He did the government. He didn't go Trey. He called him Tremont.
uh, yeah, Tremont Waters.
Okay.
I have no shame in saying that. Like, all right, whatever. Like,
Respect.
of all the guards I played against, and I played against all the guards. I played against, you know, like all of them. The De'Aaron Fox, Trae Young. I played against all the guards. My freshman year when we did the Nike, me and Chuck went and did the Nike. It was sponsored by Kyrie. It was like a Nike camp sponsored by Kyrie. We went out to St. Louis and played in it. Jordan Poole was my roommate that year. Like I played against every single guard. Does it like I like if I didn't play against you, like no offense, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I knew.
No offense, no offense at
I
all.
knew
But
he was
like
going there too. I knew.
if I was not in your gym, at like if I didn't play, like the only person I didn't play against was Colin Sexton. I didn't play against him. You know what I'm saying? And like you know like he was good. You know what I'm saying? Tremont Waters was the yeah.
Okay.
I,
Hey,
I like that's the only guard I could say in my class that like actually like he fucked me up. Like he like 30, fam. Like it was bad. It was bad. And I don't even take actual like I'm not really losing to too much of nobody. I just told you how I feel about myself. Yeah. He,
okay. Okay. What about? Did you?
I seen him in a back gym in Indiana. His team. We played against them in a back gym in Indiana. I'm pretty sure we lost by 30. And like I had the big for Indiana. I can't think of his name right now, but the big from Indiana was on my team. He was like a McDonald's All American, everything. And I had this kid named Alpha Diallo on my team, who's cousin to Hamadou Diallo,
I'm gonna
who
do. Yeah, I'm gonna say that.
is his
Yeah.
cousin. So I had Hamadou on my team, and I was on the Colorado Hawks in the Adidas circuit, and we got it was bad. It was bad.
He said we got whooped.
Yeah.
BTA belt to ass. Okay, hey, well, it happens sometimes, but you live to fight another day. But I would have, because like I was talking about this with some of my friends. They were like, "Who's the best? Who's like the best high school? I mean, who's the best player from your high school class? Like, if you're looking at like
Yeah.
NBA success." And I didn't realize that Shea is in our class. I thought he was the year before us. So I
Gilligan's
know.
Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So did you ever run into Shea in the?
I've been in gyms with Shay. I didn't play against him, but when we were in high school, this is no shame either. Shay wasn't Shay back
No,
then. He
no.
was
Like I
he
could say
wasn't
that.
that.
Ever.
That's the labor of love right there that you're watching. On TV now. Like we were in high school. I played against all the top guards in our high school class. Like Tremont Waters was the coldest guard in our high school class. Like, and it's okay. Like it's no big deal, because we had a bunch of guards who were crazy nice and who did a
Yeah,
lot of things in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? Jordan Poole was Jordan Poole in high school.
yeah,
He
yeah.
was Jordan Poole. He was that nice in high school. You know what I'm saying? Tremont Waters was the coldest high school basketball player in our class. Sorry.
Hey, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it, no, because I remember he was a baller, and I mean my Celtics had him for a little bit.
Yeah.
We didn't keep him on, but I thought he was gonna be like a perfect like spark plug off the
Man, he's
bench.
like 5'9", bro. Like he's like he's little.
If
Like,
he was taller, he would no, exactly.
yeah. What the fuck was that?
I remember like to talk about Shea. Shea was the backup to Quade Green. People
Yeah.
forget about him, but he was
Yeah.
one of the nicest point guards. Uh, I think him and Trevon Duvall, they were the top point guards of 17.
Him, Trevon Duvall, Trae Young. Yeah, that was it. Tremont Waters.
That was a
Like
class.
you,
That was a
you know
class.
who else was nice? Marcus Howard was nice. Marcus Howard was hella nice. Like,
Marcus was a dog. Marcus was a
yeah, but like, yeah, man. I stand by what I said. That's all I'm gonna say. That's why I have
yeah.
no comment.
Now with you having being able to play against guys who made it to the top of the top, guys who are all stars. What is it about Vegas hoops that you feel like the rest of America is sleeping on?
Man, is sleep on? You said?
In my opinion, I feel like Vegas hoops is, even though it shouldn't be. There's a lot of great players that come out of Vegas every single year, but
We got pros. I don't think they're sleeping on us. I think it's just a harder place to make it out of. It's not as deep as like in Atlanta. It's not as deep as LA. It's not as deep as you know a lot of these states. We're not quite as deep, but like we hold all the substance. Like I'm not gonna lie, like we could say that, but Shabazz was the number one player in the country. So was Steven Zimmerman. So you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah, that's true.
Chuck was not the best player in our class, and Chuck was a McDonald All American.
That's true.
Chase Speeder was a McDonald's All American. Zach Collins was a McDonald's. Like it's just they're all coming from Gorman. Like that's what I would say. Like a lot of people don't realize is that because Gorman has created the legacy that Gorman has created, it forced the rest of the state to create a kind of different level of achievement. You know what I'm saying? So Gorman, while it gets all that, hype and that light, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't account for, okay, let's say, this next class, 2025, there may have been, 15 kids who are top players in the country who live in Vegas. Only 5 of them are going to go to Gorman. You know what I'm saying? And were we just gonna write off the other 10? No, the other 10 get better because they didn't go to Gorman. You know what I'm saying? Troy Brown was Troy Brown because he did not go to Gorman. Troy Brown would not have been Troy Brown at Gorman. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like people don't realize that when you get one talent hub, you create a different type of saturation around the state. And like if anyone is disrespecting Vegas, which I hope they're not, you know what I'm saying? Um, Come to Vegas. You know, come to Vegas. Like if you feel some type of way about Vegas, come to Vegas and get in the gym.
Lace
You
up.
know, I guarantee you'll see people from all years. You'll see people from 2005. You'll see people like Vico Namaya. Like you'll see people. You'll see
You
people
going?
who
That's a
literally
deep
don't
cut.
exist.
That's a
Like
deep cut right there. No, I remember him.
like
Man.
like not to name drop like that, but you'll see people who like Nigel Williams Goss. You'll see
Yo,
people who like
yo.
oh, you would never know. Like you don't realize how much talent between Gorman, Finley Prep, and the rest of Vegas is really there. Because we have trainers, we have all that stuff, and it's concentrated. Vegas is not that big, so it's like if you are a top player in Vegas, we know you and we fight against you every single day. Like we're butting heads all. Like I can't tell you how many back gyms I've seen. Troy Brown and we all went to the same gyms growing up. That's why we are who we are. You know what I'm saying? And so like it's a lot different than Houston or some of these other states where it's like you only see the best player or this top player every couple months to a
Right.
year. You know what I'm saying? You're seeing us, weekly. We're seeing you monthly. You know what I'm saying? We're seeing you AAU season for a couple of days. We have to work out together. Like, it's just a different type of camaraderie. And so there's a different type of rivalry out there. You know what I'm saying? And like, iron, what they say, iron
I'm
against iron.
sharp as
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yo.
sharpen your tools.
Yo,
Sharpen your tools.
no, that's. Hey, you brought up Troy. When I played on the Rebels team that his dad coached, and he I was on the junior team. I wasn't on the A team with Troy, but
Mhm.
he had him come down for a practice one day, and it was like a 3 dribble exercise, and I almost got dunked on, and I stopped him. And I tell people to this day, like, look, it could have been Clip City for your boy. I could tell my grandkids I gotta stop on NBA player. Now when it was my turn to go down 3 dribbles and go up, yeah, it got sent to St. Elsewhere. It was gone. But
Yeah.
I almost got dunked on, and I was like, "Oh man, yeah, but this dude is different." Like, but you bring up a good point that the talent concentration of so much of like Gorman and Finley, it causes people to forget the other great hoopers that are coming out of the city. So I definitely agree with that. Now you had offers though. You had a lot of offers. Like in addition to the Utah schools, you had Memphis, Oklahoma, San Diego State, USC, Washington State, UNLV, which you got the connections with, Princeton, Richmond, Utah State, New Mexico. When you were going through your recruiting process, were you looking to join the team where you would get minutes right away, or was it more so where is my game going to take another level of development to?
Man, man. When I was looking at where I wanted to go, I wanted to be developed, like as a player. I knew, you know what I'm saying? My first year, was gonna be a fight and I wanted to be developed. And that's why I committed to BYU. That's why I wanted to go to Boise State because they were about development. You know what I'm saying? And that is also why I ended up committing to Utah. Like for me, like the gym, the workout part of it is key. You know what I'm saying? The talking part of it, the IQ part of it is key, especially playing the point guard. I need to know before I know. You know what I'm saying? I need to have been seen this. And so I was looking for, an assistant coach or somebody who would sit there with me and, go over film and, rock with me. You know what I'm saying? Advocate with me and like allow me to take their program to the next level. Like I was looking to establish trust. And that was probably my biggest mistake in going to Utah. Not gonna lie. Um, I'm not gonna name drop, but I was recruited by, certain coaches who said things that they didn't mean. And
Mm,
that's why to this day, like especially after going through the whole college experience, I wish I would have just went pro.
mm,
Like I played in all the global events. Like I don't even know if it's legal for us to put this in here, like and say this, but like my after I played in Adidas Nations that year when Jordan War went off, like there was an offer put on the table, like for me to go play somewhere for a lot of money, like an auspicious amount of money. Enough money to like fuck college. Like I'll pay for college.
Auspicious. I love that.
It,
I love that.
like it was, it was enough money to where I could be like, I'll pay for college.
I'm
Like I don't,
good.
you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like what the fuck? And I did. It wasn't that common to do that back then. And there was a rule in place that if I went and did that, I wouldn't be able to play. And you couldn't make money in college. So my experience with college is not the same as these kids now. You know what I'm saying? If I
Yeah.
was to be going to college right now, I would have been endorsed. I would have had, you know what I'm saying? Like there would have been a lot of money on the table to, you know what I'm saying? That was illegal when we were in college. Couldn't do any of that. You couldn't get paid. You couldn't do none of that. And so that's probably it. Like if I do have any regrets, I don't have regrets about the schools I went to because I learned a lot. And you know what I'm saying? Education is key. Like
Mm.
educate yourself. You know what I'm
Amen.
saying? Important. But what I will say is I would have just pursued my career because I was ready. Like basketball wise, I was ready. I didn't, like I didn't really need anything, from anyone. I just go to the gym, work out, get buckets, it's the same thing I had been doing. My freshman year going to the U, we went on our foreign trip. I went over to Spain, Paris, and then I ended up going back after I left. But we went over to Spain, Paris, and I played well. I got to see the world, and that's kind of what I wanted to do, and that's probably what I'll end up doing. I'm not gonna lie, probably end up just backpacking it, going over there, playing some hoops, doing some things.
All right. Well, stay tuned. But no, I mean, like, I had no idea. You know what I'm saying? Again, this is all amazing information to know about. So you really could have been like the next in line with guys like Brandon Jennings and Emmanuel Mudiay, where
Yeah,
they they forego college, played overseas, got the eligibility, and then went to the league.
like not to be like this, but that's probably the smartest thing you can do. Like unless you're going to be the number one player in the country or a lotto pick, um, you could go to college at any time. See, that's the thing. Like a lot of people love saying like, "Oh, you could go overseas and play anytime." That is not true. That's not true. It's like basketball is like any other job. You have a resume. You know what I'm saying? So if you didn't play last year and I have no film of you doing something last year, that's like a resume gap. You feel me? Like a lot of people don't take these things in. This is the psychology of being a professional basketball player. You could be good as shit, but you didn't play last year, so you have a gap in your resume. You could be the right person for this job, but you didn't work for a year. And I don't understand why you didn't work or why you got fired from your last job or what's going on, you know what I'm saying? So I can't trust you to play right now. You get me? Like versus somebody who may not be as good as you, may have played last year. And for that, I'm gonna give them the job. You know what I'm saying? And like coming out of high school, especially if you're a top player in the country and you don't necessarily like have a place that's really just giving you the keys to the vehicle. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just like, yeah, I want you to start here and just go off. You know what I'm saying? Even those places you got to be nervous about because what does that mean? It doesn't work like that. And
Mm.
so like you want to be a professional basketball player, so go play professional basketball. That
Right.
makes no sense to go play amateur basketball to go play professional basketball. You know what I'm saying? You spent your whole life playing, go get paid. You know what I'm saying? And if it doesn't work out, you know what I'm saying? Go to school with your money. So use your money on school. You could pay for school with that money. You know what I'm saying? And so
No
I
student
think
debt.
I think that a lot of parents they get scared and they don't understand and they don't know what they're talking about, the people who talk to them. And so they lead their kid into this dark hallway of like, oh, you need to go to school, and you need to get this degree to do this. You have your whole life. You could get a degree at 30 years old. You could get a degree at 40. You could be 60 and go get your master's. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't school does take a back seat to an occupation. You know what I'm saying? If you're coming out of high school, like, cause like I think a lot of people don't think about it like that with basketball. But if you're coming out of high school and I offer you $100,000 tech job, are you gonna go to school? You feel me?
Hell
You
no.
are you feeling me? You know, well, you go to school to get a job. You go to school to get experience, to get knowledge, to then get a job. A lot of people, like, for example, I know a lot of people who graduated last year, a couple of years ago, who can't get jobs because they have no experience. So you're telling me that these kids are passing up experience in their field
To not
to,
get.
you know what I'm saying, to get an education, to,
Hmm.
you know, you can like education is great, but you know what I'm saying? Education is always available.
That's true. That's
It's always
true.
available. Basketball is not always available. Sports are not always available. They're not.
You got to
Just
strike when the iron is hot. You got to
feel
strike when the iron is hot. Now you ended up, because that's a great segue. You ended up going from Utah. You transferred to Salt Lake City Community College.
yeah. Hmm.
You end up joining a program that was the fourth ranked team in the NGCCAA, NJCAA D1 ranking.
Hmm.
What influenced that decision, and how impactful was it to be able to come in and produce right away?
Man, uh, I actually got recruited by the head coach at Utah Valley right now to go there. They had a completely different staff. I decided I was going to go the JUCO route because I decided to transfer halfway through my sophomore year. So my sophomore year started, and I redshirted, and I got in the transfer portal, and I was like, I'm not going to play this year. There were some things that happened at the U that I didn't appreciate. Let's
Mm.
say, you know, I like they're definitely, some of these coaches still have jobs, you know, and they shouldn't still have jobs, but it's calm, you know, like I'm not really here to ruin any careers or anything like that. I'm just like being very straight up about it. There was some mistreatment going on, you know, in the program. There was some bad situations going on. And so I decided to leave. I put myself in the transfer portal. I went on some visits, some places. I had some offers on the table, but I didn't necessarily like the offers I had on the table. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, okay, why not go to JUCO? You know, like why not go to JUCO route? Like I know a lot of people who have gone the JUCO route, and at the time I knew quite a few people, including a kid named Keanu Peters who had went to Salt Lake City Community College. He's actually, that's a Vegas legend right there.
Yep,
That's
I
it.
know that name. Yep, I know that name.
um,
Definitely a
so
Vegas legend. Definitely a Vegas legend.
yeah, so I ended up going and taking a visit down to campus. It was great. I had a great visit down to campus. Silas was the assistant coach there at the time. Um, and I just had a good time, and I really felt cared for. You know what I'm saying? They also had the number one JUCO prospect in the country at the time. Um, man, what's his name? Damn, I don't want to not have his name for you.
I say you know this one better than me.
Yeah, no, I would 100% know this one. That sucks, but yeah, they had some studs. I'll put it that way. They had some studs, and so I transferred halfway through my sophomore year. Came, um, and for that next semester, me and I think his name was Cam Walker. Don't quote me on that. Me and Cam, for the next, for for that spring semester, me and Cam just went at it. Like I got to play against Cam and their team every day, you know? And so for that semester, I got kind of like used to JUCO ball. I got used to back into my bag, kind of got back to myself. You know what I'm saying? I think when you go to, a lot of people don't realize when you go to like a Pac-12 or, some of these high universities, they just want you to be a system kid. So they kind of fuck with your confidence. Like that's what they get paid to do, to kind of turn you into a robot. And so I kind of got to relax, get back into my bag. The summer came and Todd left and he got the job at Utah Valley, UVU. And we got Coach Taylor. Coach Taylor came in, brought some new coaches in. Silas left. We kept our academic guy, who's my guy. But that summer, Coach Taylor brought in five D1 transfers. So
Sheesh.
so
That's
we
a
went
lot.
from being like a JUCO, like who knows how good we're gonna be, to like we had like five D1 transfers and like an overseas kid from Australia. Like we loaded up. You know what I'm saying? One of those D1 transfers being my guy Justice Hill. Um, and so I came back for the summer. Uh, Met Justice. We ended up doing a run. I met Justice. Me and Justice clicked immediately. Like that was kind of like we were both combo guards, so it was kind of like he'll run the one, I'll run the one. You know what I'm saying? And the rest is really history. Like we got to the season. I had a bunch of offers on the table. I wasn't ready to commit at the beginning of the year. We won a couple games. We lost a heartbreaker to, I want to say we lost to Casper. We lost a heartbreaker to Casper, and then it got wild. We won like 26 straight games. Like we won, like I want to say like it was one of the biggest win streaks that like we won. We took a hard L somewhere and we won 26 straight games. So like during the season we beat Snow four times. We beat we no like every team. We were blowing every team out. Like it wasn't even
Two, three,
close.
four. We keep beating you.
It was bad. Like we won district, we won state, district. You know what I'm saying? We were winning everything, and then we were supposed to go to the tournament, and I think we were a 3 seed or a 4 seed in the tournament. Like, and it was really only because we had lost that game at the beginning of the year. Like we had lost like a shitty game at the beginning of the year, and COVID hit. So like everyone gets offers in the tournament in JUCO. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole point of being in JUCO. You go to the tournament, and all the college coaches can come watch
Yeah.
you, and you get
Mhm.
your offers, and you do this and you do that, and like I'm killing. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm averaging like 14, bunch of assists, bunch of rebounds. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some mixtape out there of my whole season, me just getting buckets the whole time. Like it's yeah, like we were a great. I had a great wing shooter. His name was Adam Hess. We had Spencer Johnson, who's overseas right now, who like had a killer career at BYU. Like we were one of the best JUCO teams. We might have been the second best JUCO team in the tournament, like realistically. You know what I'm saying? Like realistically. We had Ed Chang, who's like a 6'10" Kevin Durant type, ISO kid. Um, like we had everything. Like, and then COVID hit. And like it was crazy because COVID hit and all the coaches held their offers. None of them gave offers out. Like a lot of people don't realize that. So all the coaches held their offers. They just offered people like who they knew and their little like
That's
like
bogus.
it was a horrible time to be in college. And so
It was. It
a
was.
lot of people don't realize that a year prior to that, I had dropped the music out. So like I was producing, I was rapping, I was doing all that, and I was hooping, and I was, you know what I'm saying? I was doing all of that, like just to keep myself busy, you know what I'm saying, and to keep out of like, trouble, to be honest. And so the album did good. It was called Fluke Shit. Like it's not up anymore. I took it down. I might make some music again. Like I have a stockpile of a bunch of music that I haven't released that I'm like, I do my art thing at the end of the
That's,
day. Got some stuff cooking, but yeah, like COVID hit, everybody left and went home. I didn't have a home to go to. So like I stayed in Utah the whole summer, right? And so I kind of decided that I really wanted to do the music thing and I really wanted to understand it. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, like I said, school is school. It doesn't like people get so hell bent on what school you're at. School is school. Like whatever school you go to, if you're a pro, you're a pro. Like that's kind of how it is, you know?
yeah.
Whether people want to accept that or not, that's on them. I'm just going to say how it is. If you were a pro in college, you went to the pros. If you were not a pro in college, you're doing what you're doing, like straight up. It's not about that. Like there are situations where people get fucked, you know, like out of their opportunity to be in the pros, but that's why you don't go to school. You go to be a pro, you know? And that's all I have to say about that.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
I decided to go to Academy of Art because, well, it seemed like something that it wasn't necessarily at the time, but because COVID was happening and I really wanted to understand music. I really wanted to pursue knowledge. You know what I'm saying? I really wanted to get into studios and be able to get internships and start working in these record labels. And that's really what I wanted to do. And so that's kind of how that kicked off. And that's what happened at Slick, if you're wondering.
Well, I mean, that was a perfect segue and pivot to my next question because you went from Salt Lake City to Academy of Art, and I was going to ask, music and artistically. You mentioned first music about production, and as a artist yourself, as a rapper, who would you say are some of your biggest influences?
Man, man. Earl Sweatshirt. I
I
really
can see that I can see that just with your aesthetic and some of your swag. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I rock with Earl Sweatshirt. I grew up in LA, you know, like from third to sixth or seventh grade. And a lot of people don't realize that I grew up like in Fairfax area. So like that Supreme store, like I met Tyler at that Supreme store on Fairfax, like when I was a kid. Like he used to work in there, damn near. Like, you know, like I don't know. Things I definitely respect the LA culture. I like Frank Ocean. I like Steve Lacy. You know, like I like a lot of the I like the internet, man. Like I like a lot of that. And then rapper wise, man, Earl Sweatshirt. I like Nyan Tay right now. He's cold. I like Lucky, you know what I'm saying? Travis Scott. Like I'm a West Coast dude at the end of the day. You know, like there are a lot of people like I'm from the Bay Area, so Mac Dre was a big influence in
That's
me
the
making
piece.
music. E40 was a huge influence in me making music. You know, E40's damn near from my hood. Like, and so like music was just always there, you know? Like and and then artistically it's a bit different because I always drew. I always used to draw and make artistic stuff, but people used to bully me, man. Like people used to people used to dead ass make fun of me, like dead ass, like talk shit and make fun of me because I used to like draw or like paint or like do something like that. Like even when I was at RU, which is supposed to be an art school,
Wait,
right?
wait.
Even
College
when I
at
was
art
at
school?
RU,
Oh,
which is
nah. That's
supposed to
crazy.
be an art school.
That's
I got
crazy. That's
bullied. I
crazy work.
got bullied. I like the coaches, everybody just talked shit the whole time I was making
That ain't
art.
cool. That ain't cool at
So, which
all.
is crazy, you would never think, but it was like, oh, he's just doing, his art shit. He's being creative, like this weirdo, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what you gonna play basketball for the rest of your life? That's what you gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to be like that, but and it created a lot of peace for me in a time when I needed it.
That's hopefully what art should be able to bring for people is that peace, the connection to themselves, and an extension of their creativity. So that's dope that in the midst of your journey you found something that your heart clings to, and that it's clearly lit a fire in you. Because I mean, like this whole time, little context, me and Pop been catching up, going down memory lane, and this brother's been painting in the background the entire time. So it's
Yeah,
awesome. It's awesome to witness, and seeing your page and seeing all the different pieces that you're creating, it's incredibly inspiring. So clearly, you
shit.
have a gift, and hopefully that talent just keeps getting you to every level that you're deserving of. And I noticed on the art side, now I'm not gonna sit and act like I'm an art
Oh,
expert.
I need to close the door real quick. Give me one second
Got
before
you.
you
Got
say
you.
that. Ah. All right, go ahead.
So I noticed, like, in looking at like your page and looking at some of the art that you promote, I
Hmm.
noticed you do a lot of graphic based art. a lot of anime, martial arts, and comic book influence, but then also there's like a surrealism style
Yeah.
of with your painting. Now, again, I'm no art expert, but I know a little thing or two.
Yeah.
When you were, you coming up drawing, coming up, art was something that was in your life. But when did you know, like, I want to create pieces that the world can be shared with?
Man. So that kind of came on randomly. I'm not gonna lie. I started off just I draw every so long. I go back to my mom's house. She used to manage this building called the Hermoine. And there's a guy, I don't know if you know Anthony Hamilton.
Wait, you talk about cornbread and collard greens?
Collard greens. I
This
got one.
is what I mean.
Yeah, Sister
Coming
Big
from
Bone. Yep,
Toronto?
100%. So
G.
Anthony Hamilton actually gave me my first pair of Jordans. Anthony Hamilton lived at the Hermoine. Of all crazy things, you know who else lived there? Katy Perry lived there with her little dog.
Oh my
But
gosh.
my mom used to just manage it. My mom used to work in property management, and like that's kind of how we got a lot of the cribs, and like how we were able to stay, afloat when we were living in LA. Because LA is not a forgiving economy, straight up. Like, and so
Not keep them there.
yeah, she had like a room at the top of the building um that no one ever used to use or anything. So I ended up pulling my stuff, my recording equipment and everything in there. And that's where Floop Shit was made. That's where I made some of my first paintings, like big style paintings and stuff like that. And I really just did it kind of in between. It was the summer in between me being at the U and me being at Slick. I just was in that room, making stuff when I was in LA. I was probably in LA for like two months during the summer because it's not the same kind of summer program in JUCO. So I had a bunch of time and I worked fucking I've worked fucking retail. I worked fucking fashion retail the whole summer. It was horrible. It was horrible. I worked at the Grove. I worked at Top Men, and it's kind of like H&M. Like I essentially worked at H&M for like 2 months before, in between, me going back to school to go play. Um, and that's kind of how I stayed afloat. That, and then I was making some paintings and I was making some music, and I kind of realized during that time, like I've made art my whole life. Like I've made stuff my whole life. People have always talked shit to me about making stuff, and I've never cared. But during that summer between being at Utah and going to Slick, I kind of realized that like, damn, this could be something that I do. Like I had made a, I had made a piece, and it was more like cubism. It was a cubism piece, and when I finished it, her husband, my mom's husband, he's actually the coach at Beverly Hills High School right now. His name's Jarvis, but he saw it and he was like, man, like that's crazy. Like that looks just like the stuff I see at museums all the time. And I'm like, damn, it does. Like I honestly didn't think about that. I just be,
Yeah.
doodling and shit, just making shit. And so that's kind of when I realized that I could do it. I didn't start actually doing it until I was in at D2. I was in San Francisco at Academy of Art. I told you about the concussion and everything. I had everything happen. Um, I got to the end of the year. I want to say like I probably started really NFTs that just came out. Here's what happened. NFTs that just came out, they were just hitting the market. People were making millions off NFTs, and like the art market kind of was blooming on social media.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
And if you know anything about a D2, you get paid $200 a month. So I don't know. Yeah, in San Francisco, where juice is $8, I'm getting
A
paid.
month?
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh no!
and so like,
That's
mans are
not.
not eating. Like,
Not.
mans are not like, we're poor. We can't like. It's not like, I don't know. You can't just be a division 1, Division 2 basketball player and work a job. That's not easy. Like that's a very, very, very hard thing to do, especially in the city of San Francisco, where there's no transportation, there's no none of that. Like it's just like the city, like it's up on top of a hill, like where
Yep.
rich people live,
Yep.
like. And so during that time, fentanyl also hit the streets pretty hard, and so nobody realizes this, but Academy of Art is actually up in random ass buildings in the city. And I didn't know that until I got there. And so essentially, right at the below my dorms is probably one of the most heavily populated homeless communities in the fucking world, which is
Sad.
it's called the Tenderloin, essentially. And so the Tenderloin is about a block, 2 blocks away from Geary. I lived off Geary. And so every day, when I would want to go around the city, I would essentially be stepping over people, like people are literally sprawled out on the street all along the sidewalk. San Francisco has a serious homeless problem, like, and man, I learned so much living there. But essentially, like, I don't know if you know anything about fentanyl, but what fentanyl does is it locks your body up. Like, there's a lot of things it does. It can kill you. Obviously, there's a scientific process to it. But if you've ever actually seen someone off fentanyl, like, they'll be locked in a crazy ass
Yeah.
position,
Yeah.
fam. Like their bodies, like they look dead. They look actually dead. Like it's horrifying. It's bad. But with that being said, you can imagine how crazy it is being a college student in San Francisco. And when you wake up in the morning, you come outside and there are 9 dead people posted across the wall, and off drug overdoses in some crazy position, like. And so essentially, man, like like I'd had the concussion. I was dealing with a lot of my own emotional issues and my own spiritual issues. And I kind of was just like, very off put by where I was living. Like it put me in quite a crazy mental state. And so we're not getting paid enough. We need to make money. I didn't have time to have a job. So what I started doing is kind of similar to Jean-Michel Basquiat. I just started grabbing pieces of wood and furniture and random ass shit off the streets and just hitting it on the streets. And I'll never forget, I was painting one piece on the street. It was on a street sign. I got a video somewhere of me painting it on a street sign, and I had somebody kind of come up and buy it off the streets for like I made a couple bands just sitting on the side of the road painting. And so after that, I was kind of like, oh shit, like I can make money doing this. Like, like, hold on, this isn't just like, something I'm doing. I can actually, make money doing this. And so I continued doing it. And ever since then, I've kind of done it. Which that was just a couple years ago. But yeah, that's kind of how it happened, man. I kid you not. When I was doing this though, I like people were making fun of me. People were talking shit to me. People were, you know what I'm saying, doing all types of stuff. Like at one point when I was at the U, one of my friends, his name's Avery Bozer. We went to high school with him.
Avery.
He used to run like a little art night. He used to run an art night, like where he would invite people over to like draw, paint, kick it, chill, and it was cool. And I would go over there and do stuff, and I would, paint a little bit. Really, I just did it to like hang out, meet some people, be social. I really like art, and so he kind of ended up making a career out of it too. So when I ended up leaving and going back to Vegas, I ended up being able to hang out with him some. We ended up painting a lot of my beginning pieces, kind of like were me hanging out with my friends. You know what I'm saying? Essentially just painting. Uh but yeah, man, after that sale in Vegas, or after that sale in San Francisco, it kind of changed everything. Like I started having classmates buy prints from me. I started having people buy all types of stuff for me. Give me design stuff. I started spray painting. I ended up getting arrested. I ended up I ended up fucking getting arrested. Getting locked up. I was not locked up. Let me not put it like that. It wasn't that bad. I ended up getting arrested. They ended up letting me out, later. Um, but for spray painting in certain places and doing shit and like, that added to the lore of the school not fucking with me, like, and so it's kind of always for me, at least personally, it's always been like I'll be doing something. Let's uh let's say basketball, school, whatever. I'll be doing something that's very strict, white collar, straightforward. And the moment I get to expressing myself, I'm the bad guy. Like I'm no good, you know what I'm saying? And so like it didn't help that during the time I was painting, like I was really inspired by Basquiat and I was painting like shadows. So I would paint like black figures locked in certain positions, smiling, frowning, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And it just kind of was a metaphor for what I felt like I was going through in
Right.
life. Like I felt empty. You feel me? I felt almost dead, so to speak, but I also kind of felt like I was going through a transitional stage. And so black was kind of the color that felt like home to me. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? If it felt like the perfect color to express how my body felt, like it like that's the best way I can explain it.
No, I mean, and my previous episode I did it with a homie of mine, Mike Ashley. He played at Fisk, and he's getting his master's. And he was a musician, played 5 instruments when he was in high school, and he talked about the relationship between basketball and music. And I was going to ask you as a follow up because you speak to about how the artwork that you were creating and what inspired you was a reflection of your reality and what you were seeing around you. Do you feel like your approach to art is similar to the one that you had when you were playing basketball full time?
Yeah. I think that this is gonna sound crazy, but I think that it's all the same. Like, um, expression is expression. You know what I'm saying? People love to label it, I'm a doctor. At the end of the day, expression is the way you heal yourself. If you think about the first words you say are not words, you cry. You know what I'm saying? How do you know a baby's alive? It cries. It says, damn, something's wrong here. Like I need warmth. I need love. I need this. I need that. It's like we express to tell people what we need. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's a healing thing. Like it's a spiritual thing. And I think people love to act like games are any different, but they're not really any different. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why you can say ball is life. Like that's where that comes from. You know what I'm saying? Like cuz it's life. You learn your life lessons there. You know what I'm saying? And so one thing I think basketball has taught me is that any medium, anything you do in life can be a teacher. It is life. You know what I'm saying? Whether that be brushing your teeth in the morning, whether that be how you operate with your girlfriend, whether that be how you talk to your mama, whether that be, how you hoop. You know what I'm saying? Like I could tell a lot about somebody by how they play basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like if I see your game, I know a lot about you. Like whether you want to admit it or not, or whoever like I can tell who you are, like I can tell what you're about just based off the effort, just based off the movement, just based off the intention, you know what I'm saying? And I think that everything we do as people is like that, man. And like even with like I started off in music and music kind of brought me to the art, you know what I'm saying? Like I did art as a kid, like I've always done art since I was a child, but I never ever 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 was like, oh, and I'm going to be an artist as an occupation. That was not on my mind at all. I was playing basketball. I needed a way to express myself just for fun. I started making music. um the music was going on and it kind of just wasn't really fulfilling for me because like I'm not really interested in telling people to do bad shit. You know what I'm saying? Like straight up, like as a rapper, like you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
and this is something that like nobody will really talk about, but
like
like
Article.
I'm
Article.
not trying to tell the youngins to go hit licks because that didn't work out for me. You feel me? Like I'm not gonna act like that worked out, you know, like because it didn't work out. I'm not gonna go tell the youngins to go hit spliff because and I go back and forth with myself. That's really why I haven't released a lot of the music that I have, like because I understand that like I kind of want to be a positive influence for people, at the end of the day. And
Amen.
that's not necessarily why I make art. I don't make art to influence people. I make art because it's therapy for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I make art rather than having a therapist, like, literally. Literally.
That's a good one though.
I'd
You,
rather talk to the canvas than talk to, some dude with glasses who has a degree who's gonna tell me I need this or that to
yeah,
feel like I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I don't think any amount of drugs or pills or any of that is going to give you peace with yourself. I think that you are gonna give you peace with yourself or you're not. Like, and so yeah, that's just how I feel. I feel like they're all connected, man. Like I think that sitting the basketball down for a year or two and going to painting, you know what I'm saying, has made me a better basketball player. I'd say that.
oh, wow.
Like, and that's a very controversial thing, but I would say that today, to this day, like I'm a better basketball player than I probably ever have been, which is insane because I used to play basketball every day and like die by basketball, you know what I'm saying? And it's like the moment I stepped away and allowed myself to be taught by other aspects of life was the moment that basketball really opened up for me. And
Mm.
so,
So
thought it is, man.
on an existential level, because you hit on a lot, and there's so many gems that you dropped. On an existential level, do you feel like there is a sort of ego death that occurs for you as an athlete, and it also occurs for you as an artist, where you have that self awareness and you know yourself, but you also know where you have to go in order to emerge as your greatest self that God has in store. You know what I'm saying? Like in that process.
Oh, 100%. Like you're not gonna tell God what you're gonna do. You feel me? Like straight up. Like I understand that like, especially as Americans, we chase pleasure. We chase pleasure. We run after pleasure. We want McDonald's. We want fucking Wingstop. We want fucking, you know what I'm saying? We want all these things that kill us in reality. You know what I'm saying? And like that is lesson enough right there. You know what I'm saying? Like period right there. You're not going to tell God what you're going to do.
Right.
God is going to show you what's right for you. You feel me? Like and like when I say God, I'm not sitting here referring to, Buddha, Christian God, or like God. You know what I'm saying? Like
End
everything,
all be
everything.
all. Yeah.
This, you want to call it whatever makes it you feel good about the name that you put on it, or no name if you don't need no name on it, like whatever you want. Life, you know what I'm saying? Like this thing that we're all sharing and doing is going to tell you what you're going to do. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like you can fight it, you can do all this shit to like make your life as complicated and like make it fit your mental picture of what the fuck you think is going to happen when is it, but like that's not how it works. Like at the end of the day, like you need to do what brings you joy.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? And then if you want to make money doing what brings you joy, you can't pimp it. You can't pimp it. Like that's the thing. Like you can't sit here like and like
Oh, that
say,
is
damn, like, okay, I have joy making art. Okay. I'm gonna abuse my art skills to like try to run it up and do like no, it doesn't work that way. If you enjoy making art, then you appreciate making art. That's what you need to do. You need to make a bunch of art that you appreciate And once you love it, somebody else will be just like you and they'll love it. And the next person will love it and love it and love it. And it took me a lifetime to figure that out. Like it took me forever to figure that out. Like I was talking to somebody the other day and I was just like, one thing that's different about my approach now, because like I've done art for a little while now, and I've gotten a bunch of different reactions. Like, damn, why is this Hooper doing art? Like, damn, I want a piece. I'm gonna break off a couple thousand to give him, like, damn, I want to be a part of this. Damn, he makes shit just like Basquiat, or I hate this. You know what I'm saying? I've gotten every reaction in the book, but one thing that I realized really works for me is like, at the end of the day, if I'm gonna be a creator, someone who makes things, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to go and be like this person or be like that person or listen to this person who needs to do this. I just need to work with what I have.
Mm.
Like, when you make shit with what you have what you have. You know what I'm saying? I have what I have, you have what you have. Like, there are resources right by you that are waiting for you to use them. And like that's why I say, like, you're not gonna tell God what to do. God is giving you blessings. They're here, you can do these things, talk, jump, whatever the fuck it is. You know what I'm saying? Those are what you're gonna work with. If you turn over here and try to take someone else's blessings, or think that you're gonna make a, but like you're just gonna twist yourself and you're gonna look really crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you could just walk straight. You know what I'm saying? You could just be appreciative of whatever the fuck you have. Like, because 10 times out of 10, when you appreciate what you have, you end up having more.
Talk about it. Talk about it. No, that's facts. I was watching an interview that Coach Deion Sanders did, and he said, you chase the purpose. The money will always be there when you're going after what it is that you love, and people can feel it.
Man,
People are going to want to pour into you and invest in you because they see you're doing it from the genuineness of your heart, and you're doing it because you care. It's not just I want the fame, I want the financial success, I want
yeah,
items, I want something that's deeper within me that my soul feels replenished and fulfilled. So, no,
yeah,
that's it's important to have that. It's important to even have that kind of talk with yourself and to be able to have an outlet to express that, because a lot of people get to a point where they feel like they have no outlet where they can share that in, and they start becoming very isolated and very one track minded. So that's great that you were able to evolve, and you were able to take every part of your journey and incorporate and apply it to still look at the good in everything, because every journey provides you with good, bad, ugly, in between. So that's great. And I know you got to go, so I only got a couple more questions. But I saw in doing some more research, but I never knew this, and I was like, man, I wish I'd known this in high school, because we could have had like a would have had like 4 hour discussions about it every day. But I saw The Matrix is your favorite movie, and it's one of my favorite movies as well. Um, who is your favorite character, and what is it about that movie series and the messaging that has connected and resonated with you on your journey as both a basketball player and as an artist?
man, that's crazy. I wish I had my homie here with me to even talk about this. This is a crazy one. I'll start off by saying my favorite character is the Oracle. She's OD.
Shout
She's
out.
crazy. You have to really, cause like you really have to think about you really have to think about the fact that, like, cause like I like Neo. You know what I'm saying? You have to think about, though,
Whoa.
while all this is going on, while all this is going on with Neo, and like it branches off and extends all the way into the last Matrix movie. Like, while all this is going on with Neo, Neo has already made his decision. Like, there's all this question of, is he the one? Is he the one? He might be the one. Nah, he's not the one. He's decided that he's the one.
Mm.
He knows he's the one. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And like,
Mhm.
I think that's super metaphorical for life, because like The Matrix, you know what I'm saying? Symbolically, you could break it down so many different ways. You could talk about how life isn't real and, this is just a system and the system is just this, or like, and a lot of people don't realize is the Matrix is dumb spiritual and dumb religious. And like, to even further that, like, if you really will have this conversation, we can have this conversation because if you think about it, binary code, right? So that's like one of the things that's big on the matrix. It's all coding 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0. A lot of people don't realize binary code was made off of a Chinese spirit talking machine. And so computers are spiritual.
They are.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's actually spiritual language they're speaking. Yes, no. Yes, no. What else does that? A Ouija board. What else does that? You know what I'm saying? Like, there are a lot, like, it gets creepy. It gets creepy and weird and confusing, you know what I'm saying, when you go down this spiritual road. But you have to think about it if you're thinking about it from the point of one, which is Neo, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and all these different branches and all these different decisions that he can make. So like the first one that's presented to him is the red pill or the blue pill. You want to come out into the open and be the one, or do you want to stay in the matrix and just be a part of the system? Zero. You know what I'm saying? You want to be the portal. You want to be the portal, or you want to walk through the portal. You know what I'm saying? You want to experience life, or you just want to be a wallflower. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that one thing that I've personally taken from the Matrix that like really kind of like bypasses a lot of the current day talks that I hear about the Matrix, like, oh, this isn't, it's the government's the Matrix, or it's the this, that's the Matrix. It's your universe, your soul, the thing that you make, that's the Matrix. Like, it's the thing that you expect. Like tomorrow you wake up and you expect to have a certain relationship with your mom, your dad, the people around you. You know what I'm saying? You expect for your connections to be a certain way. And that is the matrix, your expectation. What you expect is the matrix. Once you give up that expectation, and you learn this in like Buddhism, you know what I'm saying? Hinduism, they teach this shit a lot. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're very into this. But like, once you give up those expectations, like what you think this shit is gonna be, that's when you're really able to accept what's here. You know what I'm saying? And like I said in our last question, like you then get to work with what you have. You know what I'm saying? Like, because at the end of the day, the only real escape from the illusion or whatever is acceptance. Like, you have to be like, damn, this is an illusion.
Oh, that is a bar.
like you know what I'm saying? Like, people are always like combating, no, this is real, this isn't real, this is like, damn, this is an illusion, this isn't real, or damn, this is real, because
Mhm.
it's your decision at the end of the day. It's not about what anyone else thinks. Your reality, what's real is what's real to you. If you're, when we're kids, you have those imaginary friends and shit. Like, if Lil Johnny is real to you, then Lil Johnny becomes real, and that's a real thing. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell no little kid that his imaginary friend's not real. You know what I'm saying? That's how you create a mental problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, straight up. And so it's the same in life. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's real to you is what's real, and that's what goes. And you continue to copy paste that. You continue to 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 1 1 1. You know what I'm saying? You continue to make that. So yeah, manifestation 101.
Hey, no, that's a great breakdown. And no, you and me will definitely have a convo a little more in depth about the Matrix and other movies of that nature. But that's awesome that you were able to take the lessons from that movie and incorporate that back into your life and give yourself a better vision for what it is that you're trying to inspire, create. Now, to get, kind of still get back on the hoops, and then I got one more question after that I ask everyone that I do this with. And Pop, I really do appreciate you getting on this with me. Really do. This has been an absolute joy, and it's been great catching up because it's a lot of memory lane.
Oh,
But you mentioned earlier overseas. You mentioned that overseas was a potential option when you were in high school. And then
yeah.
you mentioned while you were in college, while you were going to different schools, that was something that is always there. That something that was there, something that you considered. Now I know is art means everything. It's giving you much purpose. It's giving you much jubilation. Do you see yourself still potentially though going down the overseas route to play basketball?
I think it could happen. Yeah. I like one thing I will say is I'm not going to break my neck to jump off a bridge. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that as far as joy for the game, I have more joy for the game than I've ever had. And like I would say that I'm as good at basketball than I've ever been, which is actually a fucking foul statement to say. Like, what does that even mean? You know what I'm saying? But like genuinely, I think that like I just continue to get better and better at basketball as I get older, and it's an interesting sensation, you know. But as far as going overseas, as I told you, I think I am gonna go to a few camps this summer and just test the waters. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I have no expectations at all. I don't, you know, whether it works out, whether it doesn't work out, I'm not really worried about that. I don't even think it's about that. I think it's just about the fact for me that the door will never be closed until I close it, you know? And so I'm gonna go, you know, test the waters, put my foot in the water and see what people are talking about. Um, there's a high chance that, you know, come the next time we have an interview or something like that, I will probably be somewhere else. Yes, there is a chance.
Knock on wood. That's, that's awesome. Nah, and I mean, look, like you were a killer on the court. It was a joy watching you. So I think the fact that now you have this extra enlightenment, you have this extra um, intuition. I think, like you said, the sky is the limit because now you've almost in a sense like mastered yourself. You have that inner knowledge of self, and externally now you can pour out into your game different than before when it was just basketball, 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 basketball. So I hope I'm seeing some highlights of you, going crazy against some of this international comp, and hopefully you back in the states playing the NBA. You know what I'm saying? That'd be a joy. That'd be an inspiration to see.
Yes, sir.
You know. So I got one last question. I ask everybody this, but I really am interested in your answer because you've been giving a lot of great answers, and I think people who watch this whole conversation in total, if they're not floating by the end of it, they're watching it wrong. I but I feel like you just shared a lot of empowering and enlightening wisdom. So salute and credit to you. But when it's all said and done, how do you, Christian Popoola Jr., throwing the government out there, but how do you want to be remembered as?
Man. Oh, how do I want to be remembered? I want to be Man, this is I'm not trying to steal this or anything like that because I've heard this before, but genuinely I want to be forgotten. Like I want to be able to, you know, touch so many people and change so many things and create so many things that I'm no longer the symbol for it. You know what I'm saying? Like I would like to just do my best for the people who are willing to receive it, you know? Like I think that when I was younger, I used to really try super hard to like my name is Christian, you know. I tried super hard to play, you know, the savior role, you know, like to help people out, to, you know, I really thought that, you know what I'm saying, I could save people, fam. Like I really thought that I could help people out. And one day I kind of just realized that I was going out about it all wrong. Like I think now I just want to be seen as somebody who gives their best. You know what I'm saying? Like one part that we did not touch about my life in the interview is that when I originally came back to Utah, and this is catching up to present time, present day, or a couple months ago, I worked with Block by Block, which is a homeless outreach community. and it genuinely changed my life. Like essentially every day I would be outside helping people who were dealing with fentanyl withdrawals, you know what I'm saying, homelessness, you name it, people dying on the streets. Like we deal with everything. And I was really just able to really, appreciate life, like learn how to appreciate that I'm breathing, learn how to appreciate that I'm here, you know what I'm saying? And I think that people get so caught up in like wanting to leave this crazy legacy, like wanting to have these people remember me as king and as the most ruthless this that, like I don't want that. Like I want to touch enough people to where they feel the need to touch other people, and how would they feel the need to, you know what I'm saying? If I'm seen as anything, I want to be seen as somebody who brings people together. And that's about it.
True indeed. I mean, it's like what the Oracle told Neo. It was never it was never about you. It's about how you are going to touch others, how you're going to inspire others. So, I always think of the Tupac quote where he said, "I'm not saying I'm gonna change the world, but I hope I know Mandela effect, but I hope I spark the brain
Mm-hmm.
that
Got a
that
person
starts
who will,
mhm,
literally.
that starts
Literally.
the process that pushes it forward." So I think that's again, that just shows the selflessness, it shows the humility, and it shows your love and care for others and recognizing that it's bigger than me. So, you know, salute to you, man. Truly, truly. I can tell like, you know, in it you've been able to at every step of your journey, you've been able to adapt, evolve, and become a better and better and better version of yourself. And it's amazing to witness. And I'm glad that I've been able to watch some of this journey from afar. And I'm glad we've been able to stay in touch. And I hope we continue to connect because I do believe that, you know, there is a lot of great things that you're doing. And it's always a joy to see people who I came up with years back. It's a joy to see what they're doing. And I really do appreciate seeing people who are on a journey that is bigger than themselves because I like to I definitely believe that I'm on a journey bigger than myself. So salute to you, man. Truly, truly.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, man, I'm glad we got to do this. I knew it was gonna be a great interview. That's why I also told you I was like, hey, you got to block out some time because it's gonna be a lot. But it's been an absolute pleasure, and I think a lot of people, will be able to hear what you're saying and it will be able to resonate deeper than the surface for them. And that's the goal with this as this platform as a whole is that, you know, all the people that I knew coming up or people I've met in networking and seeing their journey of being an athlete, but also seeing that they're multifaceted human beings with amazing skills and abilities that deserve just as much spotlight and appreciation as their amazing athletic talent. So,
Amen.
got to, got to. But I'm not gonna hold you. Not gonna hold you too long with this. I know you got some things to do, and I got to get productive myself. But it's been an absolute pleasure. First, I want to say, where can the people find you and follow your journey?
Man, shoot, Christian Popoola at Christian Popoola on Instagram, man. I guess that's where we'll start. I've got a few other things going on, man. I've got a brand that I'm launching, possible music that'll come out, but right now, sticking to the painting, man. Add me on Instagram, man, Christian Popoola.
Hey, look, when y'all see them paintings, this brother is gifted, talented, and special at what he does. You know what I'm saying? If I was a little bit if I was a little bit more up right now, I might splurge a little bit, but that's the goal. We gonna get there. We gonna get there. But I definitely am glad to support. And you got a gift. So salute to that. And yeah, y'all stay in touch. Y'all stay in tune with watching this brother go. But thank you, Pop, really, truly, for being here, taking the time out your day, and it's been a pleasure being able to stay in touch. And I know the next time we run into each other, it's all love. So I can't wait for that. I'm gonna end it now in a way. This gonna really take it back to memory lane. But you're gonna die laughing when you hear this. But I end every single one of these, and it's in the title. But keep it chill. Keep it chill. And that, I'm like, hey, that's taking it back. That's taking it back.
You talking about keep it chill.
Yeah, hey, never forget. But it's all love, and it's been an absolute pleasure for episode 11 to have you as a guest. Looking forward to see all the amazing success, and I know that God is going to continue to keep lighting your path and opening doors for you, my brother.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, man. God bless.
Hey, much love, much love. Y'all continue to keep it chill. Episode gonna be out shortly.
All right, son. Oh.